Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Warhammer Underworlds content for the channel that I'm sincerely hoping that you're going to enjoy. The first showing today of the Crimson Court as they go up against the Gorechosen that we saw last time, and it's going to be a very bloody affair, and no matter who gets bloody, Khorne's going to be happy, the vampires are going to be happy, everyone's going to be happy, but a lot of people are going to die. So, you know, classic Underworlds. And with that, let's take a look at the two sides in more detail. So this is the Crimson Court. The paint may still be drying on her, specifically. Be very careful. And I think this is a bit of an older warband available for the game. They're actually being repurposed into a Warcry box, I think. The same models. But either way, this is one of the older ones. Actually, before we go over their names, I'd just like to point out the older cards for Underworld are horrific as far as readability goes. Look at that. That is really hard to read. The new ones are fantastic and actually just feel better quality in general. But this warband is led by Prince Duval. Oh, they're all vampires. Then we have, over here with the big bloody mace, we have Gorath, the Enforcer. Then we have Anias, the Curseborn. I might just call him Curseborn because I'm not 100% sure that's how you pronounce his name. And then finally we have Velis von Fane on the end there. She enjoys swordplay and murdering people in that regard. The gist of how they inspire is that they get a kill, but it is a little bit more complicated than that. At the start of a round, they get hungry because they want to kill someone. If they actually do kill someone, you can remove up to 1 to 3 hunger tokens on them. Then, when their actual condition for inspiring is end a turn, or is it a round? Let me just double check. End of the action phase. If they have no hunger tokens, they can inspire. So, and as they get hungry, they could uninspire, depending on how quick. So they need to get a kill to inspire, more or less. They generate hunger tokens. They have a mechanic called Bloodthirst, which gives them a special criteria. For instance, Velis von Fane. If this fighter has 3 or more hunger counters, she has Bloodthirst and cannot be on guard. So she loses the ability to ever go on guard. She gets access, though, to her basic attack having Scything. And that's it for her, actually. But everyone else, if they get too hungry, they start getting a bit desperate, and then they give that extra bit of oomph. And then on their inspired side, they just become super strong until they get too hungry and kind of power back down. Interesting mechanic. We'll see how it does. And then once again we have the Gorechosen of Dromm. Dromm is in the middle there. Then we have Herix over there. And then we have the Gore Hulk over there. They did okay, better than okay, actually, in their first showing, even though most of them died. Because that keeps Khorne happy. As long as blood is flowing, doesn't matter who's friend, foe, anything in between. So we'll be seeing how they do against equally bloodthirsty, pardon the pun, warband today. And with that, let's get set up. So we are set up and good to go. The Gorechosen will be going first in the first of 3 rounds. A couple of things for it to mention. Along with tracking the blood for the Crimson Court, the Gorechosen of course have that blood tithe mechanic. They start the game with 1. If they are dealt damage or do damage, their blood tithe will go up and that helps them inspire. The other thing to mention is the Crimson Court actually uses the spellcasting mechanic, the rules for which are not in the new 2-player starter set. They're in Weird Hollow. It uses these dice down here. It's essentially just the same kind of mechanic. There's 2 magic cast symbols and a crit symbol, and you're just rolling equal to their mage level and attempting to get the symbols required. I think if you get 2 crits, it overloads from memory, but either way, to get started we have to flip over our objectives, so let's do that right now. There's objective number 1, that is objective number 3, and then up here is objective 5, and this will be 2, which means this is, what one do we need? 4. So that is where everything is. Let's jump into round 1, Gorechosen going first. So the game got underway with Dromm, Winder of Worlds, activating and doing a move action just to walk onto the objective that was more or less adjacent to where he started, well, 1 extra hex away. He's got range 2 on his basic attack, but no one within that, so didn't do a charge as a result, but he did, in the power step, play Wound the Realm, because that's kind of his whole deal. We did see this when they were on the table last time, but you choose 1 enemy fighter within 1 hex of no one's territory, aka no man's land, which is down the middle between the boards. You do 1 damage to them, not doing the second part, so that's irrelevant. So Gorath, the Enforcer, has taken 1 damage as a result. However, the reaction card, well, it's not a reaction, but when it went over to the Crimson Court's chance to play a power card in this phase, a Blood Vial was played. Choose 1 friendly fighter to remove up to 2 of the chosen fighter's hunger tokens and heal 1. So that damage is actually going away, as is every one of his hunger tokens. So after his activation, he will inspire, and that does the Wound the Realm does not give a Blood Tithe counter because it's not in the action phase. First activation for the Crimson Court was Gorechosen the Enforcer. He's actually a mage. He's a tier 1 mage along with Prince Duval. The other two aren't. He did a charge action to go after Dromm the World Wounder himself, doing his basic attack, 2 dice, needing hammers for 2 damage. He got the 1 hammer he needed. Dromm didn't get a crit or a shield, so the damage went through for 2. He is also being driven back, so he's going to be pushed back off that objective over there. And more importantly though, with the ending of Gorechosen the Enforcer's turn, he inspires because at the end of the action phase, this fighter had no hunger counters. The Blood Vial took them away. So on his flipped side, he goes up to 3 damage on his basic Soulbound Mace attack. It also gets knocked back 1, and he gets a special attack or a special ability called Lurking Hunger and a spell called Vile Transference. So he gets a lot of stuff to play with, but because he charged, he's not going to get to do it this turn. Second activation of the first round for the Gorechosen was the Gore Hulk initiating a charge to go after Gorechosen the Enforcer, doing his basic strangle because the damage it does is incredible. 2 dice, needing swords. He got 1 set of swords, and Gorechosen needed a shield to block or a crit. Didn't get either, so he took a massive 3 damage there of his 4 health, so he almost got taken out. In reaction to that though, Startling Competence is being played by the Crimson Court. Reaction, play this after an enemy fighter's attack action deals damage to a friendly fighter. Pick 1, remove one of that fighter's hunger tokens, draw a power card, or push them 1 hex. He's being pushed back a little bit so that he is a little safer than where he was. Oh, that actually scored an objective card for the Crimson Court called Spirited Attempt. I guess that goes along with Startling Competence. So here it is. This is what I guess the old school objective cards look like. I apologise for this not coming into focus. I think that's in focus now. I'll read it anyway. Score this immediately after an enemy fighter's attack action that deals damage to a friendly fighter if that friendly fighter is not taken out of action. Yeah, that was struggling to be in focus, wasn't it? Either way though, Gorechosen did not die, so that is the first glory to the Crimson Court for the enemy's action. So with that out of the way, the second activation for the Crimson Court was Velis von Fane. She initiated a charge action to go try and finish off Dromm. He's got 3 health left, and he's worth 2 glory if he dies because of how much health he has. She rolls 2 dice, and she's looking for hammers, and she got nothing, so a defense roll wasn't even required. So a bit of a whiff there. They're also not spending that glory they earned yet. There's nothing they want to use it on. The third of 4 activations for the Gorechosen was Herix, because the other 2 have activated, although Dromm has only moved, so he could activate again. Either way, he did a charge. His prodigious movement of 4 let him walk around Von Fane in order to go try and finish off Gorechosen, rolling 2 dice, needing a hammer. He got 1. He had support from Von Fane, but that's the double support, so Gorechosen unfortunately whiffed his defense roll something fierce, and that does 2 damage base, which is enough that he is actually out of there for 1 glory, which is immediately being spent to equip Retaliate, which we have seen before, onto Herix. So the next time he's attacked, as long as he isn't taken out, he can counter them. And then I believe the card is broken. I think it's a one-time use thing. Well, either way, that is being connected to him for the 1 glory they earned from taking out. No, we're not going to get to see an inspired vampire in action just yet. Well, Prince Duval doesn't like that one of his minions got taken out, or companions. I don't really know their situation, but he moves 4 as well. Like, all the vampires are really fast, so he did a charge action going after Herix and attacked him with his Possessed Blade. 3 dice he gets to roll for that, needing hammers. He got 1, but that support also counts as a success because Duval is there. Von Fair, sorry. And 2 damage managed to get through as a result of Herix's defense roll there. Doesn't kill him, and gives him his 3rd Blood Tithe counter as a result of taking damage, so he is now inspired, and now he is going to use that Retaliate, which does break after he uses it, but it's after the are you out of action check, i.e. did you die from the attack. If you didn't, you get to hit them. Well, we didn't really need to do a break there. 2 single supports mean that Herix did not hit anything back at Prince Duval, so no damage done there. And the last activation for the Gorechosen in the first of 3 rounds was for Dromm to activate again and just do another move action up to No Man's Land where you can see him there. Didn't care about the objective and can't do a charge because he already had a move token. So he's doing nothing else with his turn, and there was no power cards played. And the last activation of the first round for the Crimson Court was the Curseborn. Also moves 4, initiated a charge action to go try and kill Dromm, because why not? 3 dice, needing swords. He actually did manage to get a crit as well as swords. Dromm passed his defense roll with a shield, which negates that, but does not negate the crit. So 2 damage got through, taking him to 4 in total. He is alive on 1 health, and is also now inspired, because that's his 3rd Blood Tithe counter. And that takes us to scoring. So at the end of the round, there is no objective cards being scored by the Crimson Court, so they're staying on the 1 glory they had already, and from the 1 card they scored during the round, that is. And the Gorechosen, they're actually scoring 2 of their objective cards. They're scoring Hack and Slash, which is right here and hopefully in focus. Score in the end phase if 2 or more successful attack actions were made during your activations in the previous phase. Yes, they were. Dromm had a successful one, Herrick's had a successful one, and the Gorehulk, I think. Yeah, I think that was it. Either way, definitely 2 of them. So that is 1 glory scored for that. They're also scoring Worshipped in Battle, which is worth 2 glory. Score this in the end phase if 2 or more surviving friendly fighters each have 1 or more blood type counters and they're within 1 hex of no man's territory. Yes, they are. Hopefully being on no man's land actually counts for that. Are you within 1 hex of it if you're on it? If not, then that is wrong, and apologies, but our reading is that that would score. So that puts them at 4 against the Crimson Court's 1. So let's see what happens in the second round. So as we get started in the second round to see who goes first, the Gorechosen really needed to win this so that Dromm could definitely do something before potentially being murdered and being worth 2 glory. But the Crimson Court have won the roll-off. So it's going to be them picking someone to go first. Let's see what happens. So it is a busy first activation. Prince Duval activated, did a charge action going after Dromm. 3 dice, needing hammers, got a crit in there. It would have been supported. Dromm is also supported, so he did get a success, but that doesn't beat crit. So he took 2 damage and is out of there. Now, this is where lots of things happen. 1, he's worth 2 glory because he is 5 or more HP. Duval can take away his hunger tokens, up to 3 of them. He had 2, which means he inspires. On his inspired side, he... Oh, what changes? His basic attack gets cleave, and I think that's it. Oh, and he has a special attack called Lurking Hunger, and he gets a spell called Fiendish Lure. So his base stats don't change much, but he gets access to some more abilities that we'll hopefully see if he doesn't die. On that note, power phase. Tenebrous Form is being played on Duval after that. It's choose 1 friendly fighter, Duval. His defense characteristic becomes you roll 3 dice and needing the dodge symbol. He can't make actions or reactions, he can't cast spells, he can't be on guard, he can't hold objectives, he can't be driven back because he's missed, and the effect persists until the end of round or until he's taken out of action, because he can still die, it's just it's not as likely because he's rolling 3 defense dice needing dodges. So that card is going to stay on the table there just to remind that Duval is currently in a gaseous form floating around after getting a kill. Some glory is being spent on both sides now on upgrades. Duval is being given Deathly Mastery. Majesty, not Mastery. -1 dice from adjacent fighters' attack actions to a minimum of 1, so he's now walking debuff for the 2 surviving Khorne lads. And Velis von Fair is becoming a mirror duelist for 1 spend of glory. This fighter is considered to have 1 additional supporting fire, which is really, really good. That's just her moving so fast. There's mirror images of herself. So that's 2 of the 3 glory spent for the Crimson Court. And the Gorechosen, they are spending a couple of things. They are spending 3 glory. Paragon of Slaughter is going on Herrick's. So in the declare action step of a range 1 or range 2 attack, you can remove a blood type counter to either draw a power card or heal 1. So that might help him out a little bit, because he still has 2 damage on him. So he's not super great either. Then the Gorehulk is getting 2 upgrades. He's getting Bloody Worshipper and Sharpened by Rage. So Bloody Worshipper is this one here. At the start of each round, give him a blood type counter. That might not matter too much because we're in the second of 3 rounds, but hey. And he's also getting Sharpened by Rage, which is a bit more wordy. In the declare attack action step, you can remove one of this this fighter's blood type counters. If you do, you can give Cleave, Ensnare, or Knockback 1. this fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions have that ability until the attack action is resolved. So he can choose to ignore dodge symbols on dice, block symbols on dice, or to add extra knockback to his attacks because he's hitting with such force. I think that covered everything. First activation for the Gorechosen was the Gore Hulk doing a charge action onto objective number 2 there, attempting to smush Von Fehr into the ground. 2 dice, needing swords, got the swords, but unfortunately she just needed shields and she actually got it. She was counting as being supported as well thanks to that Mirror Duelist upgrade. So if he'd hit her, he wouldn't have been able to kill her. If Dromm was still alive and he'd hit her, then a card could have been played to finish her off, but that is not to be. Almost saw how a spell would work right there as well, incidentally. But Duval can't cast spells when he's in a tenebrous form, so nope, we're going to end up not seeing spells at all, but that's okay. The second activation for the Crimson Court was Miss Von Fehr, who stayed where she was and initiated an attack into Herrick's. 2 dice, needing hammers. She got a hammer and a crit. They were both counting as supported her for her upgrade and him because the Gore Hulk is right there, which means he did get a success, but it doesn't beat the crit. So she dealt 2 damage to him, meaning he took 4 in total, and he has 4 health. He's the weakest of the bunch. So he is out of there, leaving just the Gore Hulk on the field for Khorne. That 1 glory is also being spent immediately upon gaining it. That's their 4th glory. And it's immediately being spent to give the Curseborn Ripping Claws right here, which again, these cards are having a harder time getting into focus than the newer ones. Reaction after this fighter's successful Savage Assault, which I think is his basic attack. Yes, it is. Deal 1 damage to a target. So it's just a way for him to do some additional blood damage. That also does mean, because she killed someone, she can remove all of her built up hunger, and she is inspiring. On her inspired side, let's see, her base attack stats stay the same, but it gets cleave and ensnare, so she ignores dodge and shield results, which is scary. She gets lurking hunger, and she's constantly counting as being on guard as well, except in situations where she's not allowed to be, I guess. So she becomes very scary. Oh, just double checking, the wording of it is actually at the end of the action phase. I think what that means for inspiring for the vampires is it's at the end of the turn, essentially, because a round is broken into action phase, end phase. So technically that wouldn't happen until the end of the turn for Duval as well. But they're both, like, nothing changes because they haven't attacked since the point at which they've inspired. But I think that's when they're actually supposed to inspire. Doesn't change Tenebrous form being on as well, just mentioning it as a potential error. Not looking too good for the Gorechosen as the Gore Hulk activate again. He's allowed to, and he's got a charge token because he's the only one left on the table. He tried to smack Von Fehr for 3 damage and managed to roll 2 single supports, so not even a defense roll required there. So Nice Curseborn decided it was time to join the fight. He initiated a charge action to go after the Gore Hulk, getting supported by Von Fehr there. 3 dice, needing swords. He got the swords, that's a double support, so it didn't do anything for him. If Duval was there, it would have. But luckily for him, the Gore Hulk, needing shields, rolled a single support, which does nothing for him. So he took 2 damage from that. However, that claw upgrade, the attack was successful, so 1 extra damage gets done. So it's actually 3 damage to the Gore Hulk there of his 5 HP. Didn't score any cards off the back of that, but he's getting there, and they might get wiped off the table. Oh, apologies, Mr. Gore Hulk actually has 6 health because he is inspired, and he gets plus 1 HP on his inspired side because he actually had more than 3 blood tithe counters. I think he had 4, and that was his 5th. Either way, he's very angry and a bit tankier now. Well, what more can the Gore Hulk do than try and smash one of the vampires into the ground? 3 dice, needing swords, again, still trying to do that big damage. He got single swords, but Von Fehr is actually double inspired. Her upgrade means she's inspired, and the Curseborn is also supporting. So the double support she rolled was enough. That means no damage. Well, stick a pin in them. They are done. Von Fehr activated because she's the only one without a charge token. Just went to attack the Gore Hulk again. He couldn't have pushed her back either because he didn't even draw on the attack. So she got a crit and a success. He did get a success, but that only counts that out. The crit still gets through. Using her uninspired side, the damage doesn't change. It does 2 damage, and that is enough that even with his 6 health... Actually, no, hang on. With his 6 health, doesn't he live? Because he has... Oh, no, he lives. He lives because of him being on his inspired side. So he's not quite done. That's just 2 more damage. So he is alive on 1 thanks to being inspired. Well, will that make a difference? I don't know. They get to hit back one more time before the round ends, so that might make a difference, I suppose. Oh, luck is not on the Gorehulk's side. He spent a Blood Tithe counter to remove shields, being successes for the defensive Devout. I forget offhand if that's Cleave or Ensnare. I think it's Cleave. But either way, that's his roll. So, no defense roll required. Horrendously unlucky there, taking us to the end of the second round. So at the end of the second round, the Tenebrous form of Mr. Duval goes away, and things are not looking good for the Gorechosen. They did score though. They scored a worthy offering right here. Score this in the end phase if your Warband has 2 or more Blood Tithe counters. He had 5, he spent 1, so he's down to 4. But there is 1 glory form, which is being spent on an upgrade. It's being spent on Final Frenzy right here, which is this fighter cannot be taken out of action. This effect does not prevent damage being dealt though. At the end of the action phase, break this card. When this card is broken, actually you would have to put this into play at the start of the next round, but we'll just keep on covering it now. At the end of the action phase, break this card. When it's broken, the fighter is dead. So they can't be killed, which means the last round can still happen, although Underworlds is a bit different with how it does the final round. If one side gets tabled, you do kind of play on the off chance it's a warband that could score some more cards via grabbing objectives and stuff like that. It doesn't immediately end with the side that got tabled necessarily being the loser. So it's a little bit unique in that regard. But yeah, that actually should have been played at the top of the next round. Either way though, they did score a worthy offering. The Crimson Court also scored. They scored Recovered Poise, which has got a pretty fun picture on it as well. Score in the end phase if 1 or more friendly fighters are inspired. They are. At the end of that action phase there, that's the point at which Duval and Von Fair would inspire. So that gives them 1 glory, which means they've got 5, and the Gorechosen also have 5. It is a perfect draw. As an addition, it actually is not a perfect draw because when the end phase started, both sides had 4 because they both scored 1 just now. So worthy opponents actually scored for the Crimson Court as well. Score in the end phase if 1 or more opponents has the same number of glory points as you or more glory points than you. They both had 4 and then they both went up to 5. So actually, as we go into the final round, the Crimson Court are ahead 6-5. So the top of the third and final round, the Gorechosen, well I guess I should just say Gorehulk at this point because it's just him. He's going first, and this is the point at which Final Frenzy would come into play on him, so he can't die, and he will die at the end of the turn though. Precisely when is that? It's in the end of the action phase, yeah, so it's before scoring, just for anything relevant for that. And the Crimson Court are playing Vampiric Speed on to Duval. Oops, that was a bit further away than I thought. I forgot how zoomed in I was, or not, as the case may be. +1 move, or +2 if they are bloodthirsty, which he is not, and will not be, because he's not going to get to that point before the end of the game. So he is now up to move 5. Well, the dice have continued to abandon the Gorehulk. Went first, did an attack, decided to go after the Curseborn this time, thinking he might be a bit easier because of that upgrade that Von Fair has. Rolled 3 hammers. Would have been great under certain circumstances, but not these, because he needed swords. So, nope, no damage, nothing. We actually got to see magic being used. Duval activated, did a move action of his own, his movement up to 5, got him over onto this objective here, and then during the power phase he played Dark Glamour, which is a spell. You roll dice equal to his caster level, which is 1. You're looking for the symbol in the brackets there, which is kind of like the lightning bolts in this case. Hopefully that is, or was in focus, there we go. If cast, which it was, he rolled that symbol. Crit would count as a success as well. 1 enemy fighter within 3 hexes of the caster is given a move token. So the Gorehulk has been given a move token, meaning he cannot charge, which might matter. The Gorehulk once again decided to try and smash old Curseborn there. 3 dice needing swords. He got 1 set of swords, but he is supported by Von Fair there. So that single support does actually count, negates that. No damage. It's the poor Gorehulk. I think he did really well last time, I don't quite remember. But this time, the dice are just not helping him at all. Phyllis Von Fair activated and attacked the Gorehulk, knowing that he can't die, but wanting specifically, upon doing a successful attack, which she did, she is double supported thanks to the Curseborn and her upgrade. Got a crit anyway, he whiffed his defense roll. So she did 2 damage, but more importantly she's driving him back off of there Right, that, and again, applies the damage, would normally kill him, but that Final Frenzy upgrade there, speaking like a Skaven, means that he will not die. It actually also means he scores a card. He scores Untouchable Fury. Score immediately after a friendly fighter is dealt damage by an enemy fighter's attack action if they were not taken out of action. Now, they're only not taken out of action because of that upgrade, but that presumably still counts. Which means with that glory, they are now back to being drawn. Or it is a draw, rather, and it's 6 apiece. There we go, that's more like what you expect the Gorehulk to do. He got 3 successes, 2 of which were... Oh, actually, no, sorry, just the 2 crits were successes. He needed swords. The Curseborn rather almost survived the attack by also rolling a crit, but two crits trump 1, so it did 3 damage to him, meaning he's on 1 health, not driving him back, because he can't do any charge actions thanks to that move token that was given to him. So the Curseborn might want to run away, but there is also a potential other play. The Curseborn decided not to run away. He did a move action just to sit on the objective there, and that does mean the Gorehulk for his final action, because again he can't charge, is just going to hit him. He could kill him, but that has advantages. That's what's weird about this game. It's like sometimes dead is better. Oh, the Gorehulk is really mad. He did an attack into Curseborn, obviously, and that's it for their final action. Their game is now done. But he got 2 crits again. So he got the damage through, 3 damage. That means the Curseborn is dead for 1 glory, but he's actually getting another one for scoring a Brutal Reckoning. Score after a friendly fighter's attack action takes an enemy out of action if he had 1 or more blood type counters and or wounds. He had both in abundance. So that was 2, so they're now 2 ahead. That's not necessarily all she wrote though, as you'll see in a second. Now, vampires are sly creatures. The final action of the entire game, we're done after this. Velis did a move action to move 1 hex. Didn't do a charge, didn't do an attack, simply did that. And with that, we're going into the end phase where interesting things are happening. So at the end of the game, the Gorehulk, are not scoring any other additional cards, so their score is as it stands. At the end of that phase, however, before it moves into the end phase, the final part of Final Frenzy kicks in, which means the Gorehulk dies. Now, he isn't killed by the enemy, so presumably that means he does not give up glory for that. We're going to play it as that. If that's wrong, do let us know. But it seems like he's dying to the card, not being murdered. So no glory from that, meaning that the final score for the Gorechosen is 2, 4, 6, 8. Playing 2, 4, 6, 7. But thanks to the end state on the board, the Crimson Court can actually score their entire hand. So they're actually going to score another 6. They are scoring Red Ruin, sorry. Let me zoom in for these actually. Red Ruin, hopefully it will focus better. Score this in the end phase if 3 or more enemy fighters are out of action, with the Gorehulk self-detonating as it were. That's 3 out of action, so that's 2 for that one. Death's Domain scores for another 2. Score this in the end phase if your warband holds all objectives in 1 or more players' territories. They hold both the objectives in the left territory, there we go, there's no more in that territory. And they also score Gravelords for 2 more, so they go from being behind by 1 to being ahead by in total 5, with a last minute full hand scored. Gravelords, score this in the end phase if 2 or more surviving friendly fighters are inspired, or each surviving friendly fighter has 2 or more upgrades. Duval and Velis are both still inspired. They don't both have 2 upgrades, but could they have actually? No, the only one in hand was for Gorath and he died. So yeah, they only met the first criteria. They almost met the second, but that does mean that it is a Crimson Court victory today by, what was it, they scored 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 2, 4, 6, 8. So kind of close, and they would have lost if not for that final hand just happening to be so good for the situation they found themselves in. So with that, I sincerely hope you enjoyed and are continuing to enjoy the Underworlds content. They don't do that great when they go live, but they actually seem to build up a little bit over time. Like, I think there's a small but loyal following to the sparse coverage the game gets, so I appreciate that. I hope you like it, despite any little errors. And there are going to be more warbands shown off in the future as well, including one I really, really wanted. It was hard to track down, but I actually got it. I don't want to spoil anything, it's one I was looking for. Like, I saw those models and I was like, I want those. Anyway, please do show your support, so I know to focus my efforts. and I sincerely hope you enjoyed. If you want to go above and beyond to support what we do here, consider becoming a channel member or pressing the thanks button. It's all reinvested and helps keep this possible. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you next time. Ta for now.